Okay, for this lesson we're just going to look at how to paint the sky on our picture. I'm going to give you 3 examples, and you're going to choose the one you'd like to do the most. So first of all, I've got this one here, and I'm going to draw the 3 hills that are in your scene. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we're going to do another one here. 1, 2, 3 hills. Okay, the reason I've got 3 hills is because I want to show some depth in our picture. So this is the hill in front, that's the middle hill, and this is the hill furthest away. Okay, so first of all, we're going to paint the skies. So the first one I'm going to do is a blue fluffy cloud sky. So I'm going to dip my paintbrush in the water, take off the excess. I'm just going to dip in this blue. I'm going to put it to the side here. Okay, now this blue I always find a little bit too sort of acidy. It doesn't look very natural. So I'm just going to add the smallest amount of white to it. You can see a tiny bit of white just to take it off that blue. So it's a little bit more of a natural sky blue. Now when I've got the colour I want, I'm just going to do small random patches of blue. Small ones like that, leaving quite big gaps in the picture. Okay, random patches like that. And then I'm going to dip my paintbrush in the water. I'm going to clean most of the water off, and I'm going to wipe off the excess. I just want it to be damp rather than really soaking wet. I give that a few moments to dry, and then I'm just going to, on the edge, between the edge of the paint and the paper, I'm just going to slightly move in and just blur it. At first nothing much is happening. Gradually, as the paintbrush picks up a little bit of the blue paint, it starts to come in, and I can create the fluffy edges of the cloud. This is picking up in the camera because it's starting to look really good. And I'm doing those random shapes of the camera. Now notice I'm not going totally in because I want to keep some of the white in there. I'm just coming in enough to create this nice effects of fluffy clouds. Sure, I go around all the edges there, just wiggling my brush just so I get enough of the blue. If I get some of that more stronger blue, I can go back and add a little flecks in the middle there. If I feel there's too much blue coming off, I can again dip brush, pick it into the water, take the excess off, just go back. And all I want to do is blur the edges with this nice sharp blue there and bring it in. So we're getting a really nice fluffy cloud effect. Okay, you can see nicely worked in. Now, sometimes of the year, I'll find that there's a slight pink tint to them. Now, you can leave your blue clouds like that, or you can go this route, and I'll call it the more romantic image. And that's just to add, sometimes when the sun's playing with the clouds, you get this like slight pink to it. So I'm going to get the smallest amount of red. That's too much. Tiny amount. I'm going to get a lot of white. I'm going to create a little pink, a little salmon pink colour. And I'm just going to give a tiny amount of this pink. I'll use a smaller brush normally. Tiny amount there underneath the clouds there. Okay, just a tiny amount. Clean my brush. Take the excess water off, so I'm wiping all the water off it. I'm even going to do a little bit with my fingers like that. I'm just going to blend that in just a little bit more. Get this nice, sort of slightly romantic feel to the clouds. They gives them a little bit more depth. Just smudging out a little bit. And you can have that as strong or as light as you want. So that's a very subtle technique, but I could hint at a little bit more in some areas. I could go back, take my brush there, just put a little bit more strength in some of the areas, play it off. Okay, but that's the blue fluffy cloud effect. Now on to the next one. On the next one, we're going to do the sunset. So clean the brush, going to need a fresh part of the palette here. And what I'm going to do is dip my paintbrush into the red and mix a small circle of red paint here. So a little bit more water. Now, I don't want it too watery, I want it a nice creamy consistency. Okay. And then when I've got nice red, I'm going to dip it into the yellow. And I'm not going to put my red or yellow in the middle, I'm going to put it just on the side there. So I want a reddy orange colour. Right, it's still quite red, so I'm going to bring a bit in, and I want a reddy orange. And then I'm going to do a stripe of that at the very top of my page. Okay, like that. Then what I'm going to do is dip my paintbrush in the yellow paint. We'll go to there and mix up a small circle. Tiny bit of water. Notice that I didn't put it fully in, it's dipped the corner in. And get an orange colour. And I'm going to put another stripe on. And look at the brush, it's overlapping the paper. So that brush stroke is overlapping the red there. So there's no white gap between, and the colours naturally blend. So you can hardly tell the difference between the reddy orange and the more orange colour. And back then, dip my paintbrush in the yellow paint. Bring it here, not into the middle, to the side there. And I'm going to mix up a slight yellowy orange colour there. More yellow. And again, slide it across, overlapping. I want the brushes to blend together. Back in, more yellow paint. Can do it here. I've got orange still on my brush. And I want it to be a nice yellowy orange colour here. Again, overlap it. Back now, get a tiny bit of water, get much more yellow. I'm going to go here, just scrape them in so I'm getting a much more yellowy orange. And I've got to be careful now because I've got the mountains coming up, and I'm going to overlap it. Where the mountains are, be really careful. Overlap like that. I want to show the dent in it. But you can see it's gone from red, orange to yellow. And the last one there, I have to be very careful and dip it into the yellow. Mixing the yellow there, tiny bit of that orange in there to it, and then overlapping again. Very careful. This goes down. There, like that. You might have a chance for one last bit right at the bottom, which will be pretty much pure yellow. Tiny bit of that in there. Not much, be my finishing bit. Okay, but mostly it's going across from red to yellow. The light is affecting outside the window, so nice dapples of light coming in, which is spoiling the light in here a little bit, but I think you can still see it. And on to the last one. Now this is going to be the night sky. So for the night sky, I'm going to mix up blue and red. I'm going to get a sort of bluey purple colour. I'm just going to randomly splodge parts of it on, covering my sky. I'm going to add more blue to it maybe, and randomly splodge in there. Add more red. I'm going to splodge that in and fill some of the gaps there. And I'm really randomly putting it in. And it's different versions of purple, purpley blue. Okay, add more red to it. Okay, you can see I'm filling the area there. Making sure I've got all those bits covered in the gaps there. If you go into the mountains a little bit, don't worry too much. I'll try a much more bluey purple. That last bit. And you can see filling in that gap there nicely. Now, here's the really nice bit you can do now. Once that's dry, we'll allow that to dry. Okay, I haven't got the luxury of allowing it to dry here, guys, but you give that a few minutes to dry. And what we're going to do then is we're going to get a white, mixable white, and a nice thick white paint, a bit of a paste. And we're going to get a paintbrush, just like in primary school, spray the stars on. I think that works pretty good. Okay, so that is our sky. Just wipe my finger there. Now, that's part one. Just going to clean up. Get onto the mountains. So first of all, we're going to do the blue sky mountains. And to do this, we're going to mix up a normal green, what we think is normal green. So yellow and blue making a green. And I want this to look like the green we sort of look at and go, yep, that's green. Very normal green. Okay, and I'm kind of happy with that green. I'm just going to paint that hill in. Okay, now not to go over there. Okay. And that is my normal green mountain. But here's the thing, in daylight, things get lighter as they get further away. As they get further away. But then as they get further away, we're going to add more yellow. So that next mountain, I'm going to get it, but I'm not going to go in the middle again, guys. Look to the side, because it's easier to mix a lighter colour if I'm not having to contend with all that green in the middle there. Okay, so that's a lighter tone. It's only slightly lighter. You can see a lighter green. And the last hill, even more yellows. Tiny bit of water, dip it in. And again, not in the middle, to the side here. There's enough green on a brush. A little bit of green there. We paint it in with a lighter green again. So it's almost like a lime green, this last one. And even though you might think they're not too different, when you put them next to each other, they are fairly different. Okay, so that is our daytime sky. For our sunset, again, we're going to mix up the normal green, so blue and yellow here, okay, mixing up what we think of as a normal green. Okay, trying to get it similar to that colour. Enemy of filming here is the light. There we go, this is normal green, and I'm going to paint that on. Okay, and I'm painting that normal green on to that area there. But here's the thing, as we go further back now, because there's less light, it's going to get slightly darker. So what we're going to do there is put into the water, a tiny bit of blue. So you can see slightly darker green, not much darker, but slightly darker. It goes into this area here. So it's getting slightly bluer, because it's a bluer green. And then the last one, more blue in it. Too much. And I'm going to mix it there. Okay, so we've got a kind of bluey green for that last section there. Just going to make it a bit more blue in it. A little bit more blue than I wanted, but it's not too bad. There we go. And that's the last hill there. And you can see it's gone into a more bluey green. So we've got to start off with a normal green, then a sort of slightly darker green, then a bit more of a bluey green. Hopefully you can see the 3 stages of getting darker. Now, with the nighttime scene, we don't start with a normal green, we start more with a slightly darker bluey green. So let's mix that up. So we've got the yellow and the blue. I'm going to mix up the colour just off the normal green. Tiny bit more blue to that. There we go, perfect. And I'm mixing that in there, painting it in. So this is a sort of a slightly more bluey green. You want it just to kind of, because it's dark and it's nighttime, we're not going to see things as well. And as we know, as things get further away from you when it's dark, it's harder to see because there's less light. And then for the next one, mix more blue, and I mix a circle there. It's on the edge, and I want a bluey, slightly bluey green. And it should look a lot like that one really there. And by the time we get to the last one, because you might already be thinking, oh my god, that's got a bluey green, sir. But no. By the time we get to that last one, there, it's going to look really blue. So I'm going to dip in, and it's almost a blue, which is just to the edge of it. And it's blue with a hint of green. We get that one going in. Because it almost disappears into that bluey night sky. A bit more water. Perfect. got to be careful. If they're too watery, they'll bleed into each other. So you just got to get the right consistency so that the colours just dry enough, not so runny. And there you have it, guys. We have the daytime scene where we have the light, fluffy blue skies. Means that the mountains will get lighter as they get further away. So we'll add more green, more yellow to it to make a lighter green each time. And one of the reasons they do get lighter is A, there's more light, but also little particles of dust get in the way of our eyes, so colour gets less sharp and less real. So even if the colour was exactly the same hill colour, which is not likely to be for each hill, these dust particles will take some of the strength of the colour out. So it kind of dilutes it and makes it lighter as they go further away. But in dimmer light, the colours are going to get darker, as we've seen here. Getting darker each one as they go away, and then same here, darkness to the last mountain almost blends into the night sky. And that's how we do skies on our pictures.